solar panels, trash talk, internet safety, and a look inside this week's Town Council meeting on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, April 25th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Transit officials try to work together to come to a solution to Sagamore Bridge traffic snags. Work being done on the bridge, along with 4 other Mass DOT projects along Route 6, have meant major backups for those heading off and on Cape. Tuesday, Senator Dan Wolf met with the Canal Area Traffic Task Force led by Cape Cod RTA Administrator Tom Kerr and attended by DOT employees, the Army Corps of Engineers, and other transportation experts. Kerr says he will continue to work with the task force to formulate answers to travelers' concerns. The Renewable Energy Commission continues to formulate its plan for the future of trash removal in Barnstable. With the end of the CMAS contract looming and tipping fees set to increase, town officials are working on ways to reduce costs and increase recycling. Curbside pickup and pay-as-you-throw are just 2 of the options on the table. The Renewable Energy Commission met Monday and put the final touches on a presentation to be given to the Town Council sometime in the future. Also at Monday's meeting, Energy Coordinator Richard Elrick updated a plan to increase solar energy in Barnstable and beyond.
Is that the Cape and Vineyard Electric Co-op, of which Barnstable is one of 20 members, just announced its award of a contract for what's being called the round 2 solar PV phase, if you will. And this project includes 44 separate locations around the Cape and the Vineyard, rooftop mounted as well as ground mounted systems. The project has been awarded in essentially 2 tiers. The first tier are buildings and ground mounted locations that have the least amount of problem. They're going to move forward fairly quickly. There aren't any permitting issues involved, no complicated ones. The second tier ones are some locations that may be in conservation lands or have Chapter 97 issues or are going to require some additional work to get them to move forward. But counting both tiers, we're talking about 55 megawatts of solar. And so added to the 16 megawatts under the round 1 RFP, which included our cap landfill, we're talking a pretty substantial amount of solar capacity here on the Cape and Islands, or Cape and Vineyard, perhaps one of the greatest concentrations throughout Massachusetts. So we're going to be, this project is going to go a long way towards helping achieve the Governor Patrick's goals of the solar production that he wants. I don't know if you have any questions specifically about the project. Again, the Barnstable locations are the senior center, both a small rooftop array and a ground-mounted array, 2 parcels at the airport that'll amount to just about 6 megawatts of capacity, another just about 3 megawatt project in Independence Park, which is where our solar as of right ordinance is, and then a rooftop system at the West Villages Elementary School and Barnstable High School, quite a large one, over 400 kW there. So we'll have some pretty substantial new townwide installations of solar.
Barnstable Town Council convenes this Thursday. Capital improvements for work on the Hyannis water system take up the bulk of the old business of the day. Several public hearings are scheduled, including one on the request to spend $25,000 on a consultant to assist in the search for a new town manager. During Tuesday's press conference, the issue of municipal health insurance changes was discussed, with new rates set to go into effect for municipal employees in just a few months. Barnstable Patriot reporter Ed Maroney asked if discussion on perhaps moving outside the municipal health group would occur in the future.
First, we have already had a meeting with Cape Cod Healthcare. They were interested in learning more about how municipal healthcare financing worked and perhaps some products that in the future they may be asking us to participate in. So to that extent, the town treasurer and Mr. Cole and Mr. Milne and I have, had a meeting with Cape Cod Healthcare on that. We have money in this year's budget, which we'll be talking about when we release the budget, about having an RFP that'll go out to have someone look at our existing participation to date in the Cape Cod Municipal Health Group, and that'll be a reflection back on a study that was done back in 2003, and we'll look and do a comparison and see what our if you will, profit and loss and our participation in it has been. And then we would also anticipate an RFP for a consultant who would actually look at various models that were out there and compare those to see how they reflect back to the Cape Cod Municipal Healthcare Group, as well as perhaps a new model or another group that we would have the opportunity to join. So we're going to look at all those options and then see which would be the most cost-effective one for the town to participate in. We'd like to get that done early, because if you're going to begin to make changes for the start of the next fiscal year, you'd like to have a lot of that done by probably December or January of this and early next year.
With the town's budget process underway and the state budget numbers yet to be finalized, a question was asked regarding the Chapter 90 funding the town could receive from the state. Director of Public Works Mark Ells responds.
Sometimes annually, sometimes less frequently than that, receive between $1 million to $1.5 million a year to work on major public roadways within our community. And so this is part of an ongoing program where we, as well as other communities across the state, receive such funding. So,
you have specific plans for the money? You've got areas that you particularly want to be working on this
well,
time?
basically all that's the primary source of funding for all the major roadways that we have within our community, and we augment that with the annual appropriation of the $3.25 million for the public roadways, and that combined gives us basically what we're looking at for an annual budget to work with our public roadway infrastructure. But I mean, yeah, we have a 5-year plan for all of it, and then we look at which ones fall into which category and then focus the funds appropriately.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I think what you're seeing is the legislature over the past few years, in anticipation, I think mainly of town meeting votes that are coming up, so that towns are making decisions on some of these traditional funding sources, whether it's local aid or whether it's Chapter 90 money. So they're giving the town some predictability of what that number will be, so they can plan accordingly when they go to their town meeting. We have a little more flexibility in that, but it's certainly good to know what that number is early going into our own budget session.
It also is money we haven't received yet. So it's kind of like an obligation to the future.
Right.
And so it varies. Some years we don't get any, some years we'll get more. And so you'd have to look historically in what increment we actually received it on.
Town Council meets this Thursday night at 7 p.m. in the second floor hearing room at Barnstable Town Hall. The meeting is broadcast live on Channel 18 and webcast at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, if you're interested in learning more about internet safety, you've got a chance to do so tonight. The Barnstable Police Department is holding an internet safety class for parents. Police officers with specialized computer training will lead the workshop on cyberbullying, online predators, and how to keep your child from revealing too much information online. The session begins at 6 tonight in the Shepley Room at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. Saturday is Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Any unwanted, unused, or expired prescription medication can be dropped off at Barnstable Police Headquarters on Finney's Lane. No questions asked. The drop-off begins at 10 this Saturday morning. It'll be open until 2 p.m. Contact Barnstable Police for further information. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.